A Dwayne who was made of rocks finally makes his MCU debut. How did Tom Cruise's character in Cocktail make it to New Asgard? And what's the story behind Ensalada Grande? These are the Easter eggs you may have missed in Thor: Love and Thunder. One of the best gags in Thor: Ragnarok was the reenactment of the events of Thor: The Dark World, using theater actors on Asgard. Well, even though Asgard is now on Earth, the actors returned in Love and Thunder to perform the events of Ragnarok for tourists who are now visiting the Asgardian city. Matt Damon as Loki, Sam Neill as Odin, and Chris Hemsworth's brother Luke Hemsworth as Thor all return as the finest actors in Asgard. Not only that, but there is a new addition to the group, with Melissa McCarthy taking on the role of Hela in the play. Looks like McCarthy's Instagram audition paid off.
Thor, Love and Thunder.
We could be Love and Thunder.
Or Thunder and Love.
Taika Waititi returns as Korg in Love and Thunder after originating the fan-favorite role in Thor: Ragnarok. But this time around, we learn a little bit more about his alien race, the Kronan. In particular, we meet the Kronan god, Ninni of the Nani. The Kronan god in question is seen sitting on a throne that just so happens to be made of scissors, which is a bit of a silly gag since rock beats scissors in a game of rock, paper, scissors.
Made of rocks, as you can see, but don't let that intimidate you. You don't need to be afraid unless you're made of scissors.
Additionally, we learn how Kronans make babies in the film, and, wouldn't you know it, Korg finds himself someone to make a baby with. This guy happens to be named Dwayne, who is made of rocks. This is clearly another gag, making a loose reference to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. One of the funniest things to come out of the Taika Waititi era of the MCU are the Team Thor shorts, which sees Chris Hemsworth's God of Thunder rooming with a human man named Darryl. Well, Love and Thunder finally went ahead and confirmed Darryl as canon, with actor Daley Pearson reprising the role in a couple of scenes on New Asgard on Earth. While we don't get a ton of Darryl in the film, it's a nice little nod to the shorts, and, moreover, could pave the way for further adventures with him in the future. Perhaps he's had other Asgardian roommates during his time in New Asgard. Hopefully they've been easier to live with than his last one.
I never thought I'd say this, but I'm really beginning to miss my old housemate.
The music of Guns N' Roses plays a big part in the film, and the most obsessive rock music fan in the film is Axl, the son of Heimdall. At one point, we get a glimpse at his bedroom and see some posters for other rock bands. Aside from GNR, we see one for a band called Mad Titan, which serves as a clear nod to Thanos. Another one of the posters reads Ensalada Grande, which is Spanish for big salad. Don't bother trying to remember if salad figures heavily into any prior MCU film. This is actually a production Easter egg, since the Big Salad was the working title for Love and Thunder during filming. New Asgard serves as a major location in Thor: Love and Thunder, with Tessa Thompson's Valkyrie serving as king of what has now become a major tourist destination. In one sequence, we see that there's a shop called Cocktails and Dreams, which is actually the name of the bar Tom Cruise wanted to open in the movie Cocktail. As far as references a little more directly connected to the MCU, another one of the shops is called Infinity Cones. This is a clear reference to the Infinity Stones and the Infinity Gauntlet that played such a huge part in both Avengers: Infinity War and Avengers: Endgame. Presumably, Thor doesn't mind the joke.
Buddy, you all right?
Yes, I'm fine. Why? Don't it look all right?
You look like melted ice cream.
Eternals expanded the cosmic world of the MCU, and some of that imagery ended up making its way into Love and Thunder as well. For one, we see a fallen god early in the film that goes by the name of Falagar the Behemoth. Of course, this image is taken directly from the pages of the comic book run that inspired Love and Thunder, but it also very much looks like the MCU version of the Deviants. We also got a glimpse at a couple of the ancient beings known as the Celestials, with Thor and the gang seeing them on the outskirts of Omnipotence City. Love and Thunder features 2 Thors for the price of 1, which seems like enough electrifying power to take down any threat, but even they have their hands full against Gore the God Butcher. The intimidatingly named villain is granted the power to kill gods scattered throughout the universe by using a powerful weapon known as a Necrosword. Naturally, the weapon is pulled straight from the God Butcher storyline that inspired the film, but the weapon has a rich history in the Marvel Comics universe beyond that. The first Necrosword was crafted by Null, the ancient being who crafted the symbiotes. Null made a big splash in the King in Black storyline, and while he doesn't appear in Love and Thunder, the stage is set for him to appear in future movies. Of course, this is lightly complicated by the fact that Venom and the other assorted symbiotes are properties of the Sony film franchise, but who's to say what the future may hold? One of the biggest Easter eggs in the film connects to Natalie Portman's Jane Foster. and brings us all the way back to 2011 with the first Thor. In that movie, Jane is early on in her research, which is aided greatly by the discovery of Thor and the other realms. At one point, S.H.I.E.L.D. confiscates much of her research, but Thor manages to make a deal with Coulson to give it back.
If you return the items you have taken from Jane.
Stolen.
Borrowed. Of course you can have your equipment back.
Well, as we come to find in Love and Thunder, Jane finally managed to take all of her findings and turn them into a book titled The Foster Theory, which is referenced several times in the film. The notes that Thor recovered for Jane helped to craft this book and turn Jane into a world-renowned scientist. It's a nice way of showcasing what Jane's been up to since appearing in Thor: The Dark World, while offering a bit more richness to her character work. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more SlashFilm videos about the Marvel Cinematic Universe are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.